Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Praveen from Minda Industries, New Delhi. I think the earlier presentators have already discussed about what they have been doing, and we are also very similar to what they have been doing, but the approach is slightly different. Before we start upon, I would like to portray what my mission is, what the company's mission is. It is to establish new paradigms for integration of renewable energy, and that is the integration of renewable energy with sustainable rural development. I repeat the word again, with sustainable rural development through a viable business model with a strong inbuilt social inclusion in it. And this could be bought by a CSR activity or through other donor funds or through MNRE subsidies or through other channels. So what we bring through, what is our vision? I mean to say the vision of the company. The vision of the company is to illuminate, to electrify villages every day, to build in those kind of capacities that can illuminate villages every day throughout the country. We till date have done about 250 systems which have been operating in pan-India basis. We cover about 8 to 9 states in India and have about 10,000 households running through our systems. Now, I purely come through a corporate. I am a pure corporate sector, and I am into this business to do a business. I mean to say, along with the social inclusion, I want to make some kind of profits. Because only when I make profits, I can replicate these models. I can move ahead. And this is why when I talk, I think the private investors or the private companies from Nepal should look into those aspects. They should draw out our experiences, what were our struggles, and why we couldn't scale it, why it took a larger time for us to scale it. So we started about in 1958. This is the flagship company called as Minda Industries, which supplies automotive components to all OEMs throughout the world. In India, we have 26 manufacturing capacities. We have 3 overseas big plants and have a global revenues of 380 million USD. And out of this Minda Industries came out a company called as Minda Next Gen Tech, which is a non-automotive group, the only non-automotive group for Minda Industries. And this non-automotive group works into the solar. We started about 2.5 years back. We started on 13th of April 2011. And we are structured under 3 verticals. One is called as the power generation, which generates renewable power. The other is called as the energy efficiency, where we have a manufacturing capacity of LED lamps and bulbs. So that the power which is being generated by the renewable power, renewable sources, are being pumped into energy efficient lamps. So these are our 2 vital areas. And the third, which we are still trying to organize, we are still trying to build, is the servicing sector. We have done it in few of the states in India. And we realized the reason why solar didn't grow in India is because of the lack of the servicing capacities. So before we enter into a particular state, district, block, we ensure that we put in our investments more into the servicing sector. And we have done it in UP, we have done it in Bihar, and we have done it in Tamil Nadu. So I talk about my country, I talk about India, what we have done, but I think we are very similar. The culture is similar, the terrain is similar, the economics, the kind of people. So you can learn more out of it when I move ahead. We can start the context by telling how many people, about 1.4 billion people worldwide do not have access to electricity. It means one complete India, which do not have access to electricity. Another 1 billion people who do not have electricity during peak hours. So if you fly past through a planet called Earth, and in the evening from 6 to 10, you'll find that country size almost to India do not have power. So you'll have a complete blackout where about 2.4 billion people will not have power. Estimated 48% rural household in India do not have power. And there are about 400 million people across 250,000 villages in India do not have power at all. What we bring in is, we think the solution for this is mini and microgrids. Now, before we enter into this business, whoever the company is trying to get into this business or the companies in this business should have a very clear approach. What are they? What do they want? Similarly, we designed what our approach was. We wanted to keep it very simple. We wanted to keep it sustainable, and how could we scale it? Because that would bring in the small amount of margin which I'm talking about. So we had a formula called as 3S. How could we have kept it simple? By focusing what we wanted. That means we focused on those villages which are unelectrified, or those villages which had intermittent supplies. I mean to say, villages which never had power supplies from 12 to 14 hours. We focused more on providing the basic lighting. Basic lighting, 2 LED lamps and 1 mobile charging point. We wanted to assess what the requirement of the villagers are. How could, if we had to scale it up, what were the means and methods which we could scale it up? As I said, the focus was to provide 2 LED lights and 1 mobile charging point. The sustainability. How could these systems which we deploy or we install in villages could be sustainable? The fact is they bring value. Well, the kids could study is fine, but for a villager to convince that his kids could study was a difficult task. Because these are the things which will be shown, which will grow after a period of time. Kids will study, they'll go into schools and colleges, earn money. So how do we make it sustainable? Telecom industry in India and other parts of the world grew because they bought in the wealth. So could this lighting bring in the wealth? Could this lighting add little more to the villager's life? This is what we thought, and this is what we designed the formula called as sustainability. And how could this bring it, which we'll describe in my later slides. As well as everybody knows that health and environment, it affects a lot. It brings in a lot of positiveness in health and environment. And the third was to scalable, which was our focus area, that we could spread all across the country and could scale it up at a higher efficient rate, at a greater pace. So the core business of ours lies with the village entrepreneur. And how could this village entrepreneur work? If we could provide him a viable business model. The viable business model could be, the funding could be done either by a financial institution, by a donor, or the capital and cost could be met by a CSR, MPMLA funds, or through other donor agencies. Our journey started, our first journey started from 2011. This was our first plant, which was inaugurated on 2nd of October 2011. This was a complete AC unit, which was about 1.2 kilowatt. We spent about 6 lakhs of rupees. The learnings were huge from this. This was a plant which we had installed for 175 households. The idea was to give basic lighting to all 175 houses. We did that. It took us around about 2.5 months to install this complete system. There are about 16 electrical poles installed there. We also wanted to scale it up. I mean, to increase the capacity because there were some commercial loads available. But once the system became operative, the villagers denied giving us the payments. So the biggest learning here is this market is a localized market. I can talk about what happens in our country, that you need a local entrepreneur, you need a local entity to bring back the returns. So this is what we thought, and from this erupted a business called as a DC microgrid for us. About 16 kilometers away far from this village, there were about 20 households who wanted a small system. So we had not made any revenues. We have not made any collections in some last 3 months in the previous plant. So we designed a small system for them, a 240 watt system. And till date, I get revenues and checks from this village, which is close to Firozabad. The operation is very simple. As I said, we wanted to keep our systems very simple. It has a single panel, 240 watt, supported by 2 150 Ah batteries. There about each house would get 2 LED lights, a mobile charging point. And this would be spread in an area between 150 meters to 200 meters, would cater to 35 to 40 houses. The advantages were it was free from human intervention and could be set up in 2 and 3 days. We also have installed about 228 meters in different villages. But the learnings from these prepaid meters were that it increased the cost of the system. And when a village level entrepreneurs try to extract money from the village, so this extra added cost would become more difficult for the villagers to pay. This is how the operation runs. Now, I would like to get into the business model and would like to talk more about what this village level entrepreneur is. A village level entrepreneur could be a chaiwala, could be a farmer, could be anyone in a village who's interested to do a business, who wants to enhance his income through a different means. Like we identify a village level entrepreneur, we ourselves try to have our own connections. Even a DM, block development officer, the government entities, the NGOs, these extended arms of ours help us a lot to define, to determine, to find it a villager level entrepreneur. We have a systematic approach where we have our own formats designed, where we try to understand what his requirements are, why he want to enter into the business, what his capabilities are. So these have all come because of the learnings. Earlier, we just went and sold a system. It didn't work for him because after selling a system, over 20 people were attracted, whereas the system was designed for 40. So the awareness, the thought behind the system and how to generate money out of it plays a vital role to find out a village level entrepreneur and for the system to run efficiently. The investment in this would come, a part of revenue would be shared by the entrepreneur. We made it a point that the entrepreneur puts in about 20 to 30% of revenue, and the remaining comes from the donor agencies. It could come through a bank, a financial institution. We have already tied up with few banks in UP and in Bihar who are trying to bring in some kind of a fund for these villages. And our responsibility lies in designing, supplying, installing, commissioning, and to provide the post-sale activities. What the VLE does is, it collects the revenue from the villagers, from his subscribers, from the consumers, and this would range from 100 rupees to 150 rupees, would be around $1.9 to $2.5. But how do we make it lucrative? When we entered into our initial villages, we found out what kind of a local growth could be meant in a particular village. Like some were more interested in candle making, some were more interested in paper bags, some were more interested in doing grinding of dals. So we try to build that up. We try to facilitate that process. So what I'm trying to bring in is, like, we are there for about 5 years to provide them with all kind of activities related to post-sales and all. But we are there with an integrated approach. We would like to bring in a sustainable growth in the total village, and that can only come if we try to bring in a change in their revenue pattern, a change in their income growth. So this was done if we could facilitate that, and then this could be extended or this could be taken over through an NGO or through a local entity. The payback period of the system would be between 2 to 3 years. Now, this is a small analysis which we draw. There's a small village Soda in Rajasthan, where we had installed about 4 microgrids there, and there were 180 households which were electrified by these 4 microgrids. So imagine an outlay, I mean to say an investment of 6 lakh rupees or $11,000 were done about 2 years back. And what is the revenue which the village created? It is like a GDP which has been created. The savings in kerosene, the savings in government subsidies, the income generation of a household enhanced. And this income generation household enhanced because of the grinding of dal. They used to grind the dal there by their own chakki, which was manually done. And a small amount of payment was given to them. And these dal was then being sold to the NGOs, which could take it back to our factories, to those factories which are on the Rajasthan-Jaipur highway. So this is how the outlay changed. Now, how can the private companies, how can the stakeholders, I mean, so the stakeholders could be the financial institution, the private companies, the government, and the beneficiaries benefit out of these microgrid, these systems? A private company, there's a huge market people say about, and we know that there are about 500,000 hamlets within India which are not electrified. A 2,000 rupees microgrid, it could be $1 billion industry here. The village level entrepreneur, he gets a chance to generate revenue, to increase the revenue. Funding agencies, they fund more, they can fund more entrepreneurs, they can fund more systems, and they can generate more interest on it. For the government, it creates a healthy environment, because if these kind of activities are bought up, the government has a credit to it, the consumer community benefits out of it, the environment and community also has a great impact on it. Now, what we have achieved is we do it on pan-India basis. So we have done around 250 systems. Majority of systems comes from Uttar Pradesh. These are some of the snapshots of the villages which have been electrified. Our branding is done in the name of Umang. So wherever we go and install the system, we call it as an Umang Nagari. So these are some of the activities which are being done in the villages because of the LED lights and the small power system which is being installed. This is what I was talking about, the prepaid systems which have been installed in Azamgarh and Mau, but has increased the cost of the system. Now, the idea is we have been talking to the government, we have been talking to the state nodal agencies. How can this be exploded? How can this be scaled up? So what should be the focus of the government be? What should be the focus of the private entrepreneurs be? What could be the focus of the private companies be? I think this is where I think the private companies in Nepal should step in. Where what should be the approach of the government? If there's a private company, we have a process. We think that the government should allot a cluster, because this will bring down the cost of the logistics, the services, and the servicing company or the company which works there, which trains the people there, they get more opportunities to work in different areas. So this is where the government should come in as a step to define a focused area, a cluster with a good number of households. This would encourage private companies to come in and to electrify those areas. And after all, I think the previous presenters have already discussed about the policy and how the subsidies should be bought in. And the financial support from the government is essential. Yes, if they can bring in to start the sector, but how can this be directed directly to the beneficiary has to be worked out. Multilateral agencies, they can support in a big way by bringing up the VGF practices, where this could come in form of the capital, in the form of capital expenditure. Now, what do we look into it? We look into it, like I said, about the integrated approach. When we build up the capabilities of a servicing, so we train the local folks there. These trained people, we provide them with the training. We call these villagers back to our factories. We train them for a week or 10 days, provide them with certificates, and give them a skill where they can excel in their fields or they can be helpful to us. So what we try to build in is an approach where a villager gets to know what the system is, and he knows how to handle the system in case there are certain failures. So this is where I think private companies have to play a very vital role. The challenge which we face is how do we bring down the cost of the tariff which the consumer pays to the VLE below $1 would be about less than 50 rupees in Indian currency, is what our company faces, so that they do not have to pay more than their lighting loads. I mean to say more than the expenditure on their kerosene lamps. What we have been seeing in the last 1.5 years is the growth of the DC systems there, the DC appliances. So this is creating another industry where DC appliances are coming in. Like Shyam was talking about the laptops which have come in. Like people have seen bringing in DC televisions, DC fans. So this is building up the capacity for a different kind of an industry by this small outlay of 240 watt systems, which gets into several parts of the country. Now, what are the ways which, if the customer load enhances, are we in capacity to shift over from DC to AC? So when we enter into a village, we try to explain them, we create an awareness. Tomorrow, if these commercial loads increases, we take back. The only point of change here is the charge controllers and enhancing the capacity of the panels and batteries. So we take back the charge controller and get it installed in some other village, and we bring in an inverters or whatever is required by. So this is efficiently being done, and it becomes a part of our association and agreement when we do it with the villagers. So, and this increase can only happen if these kind of micro enterprises or some kind of a growth activity within the village can be brought about. Now, this is a very interesting cycle which we talk about, the reverse vicious cycle, where we say we push in a small system, how it increases the value which is added by giving education, by increasing the productivity, it adds to the wealth. And whatever it adds, it comes back to the power plant, because it causes it relates to the increase in the capacity of the power plant, which benefits the stakeholder. I mean to say, which benefits the private player. So this is a reverse vicious cycle, which if you go through, we'll see the different kind of industries which it makes through. Like I was talking about the DC fans, the DC televisions which have come in. So this model is what we replicate. This model is what we try to take it to the different parts of the country. Now, what do we look forward, and what the Nepalese investors or the private players need to look in, if they want to carry up with these kind of business model which we have, is to how do they identify a VLE in a village. So that VLE identification has to be done through a very serious note. I mean to say why he requires it, what are the areas which he wants to work into, if he has to earn money, how can this village level entrepreneur be linked with the bank, and how long can he sustain, how well is he adapted to the technology. So those are the areas which the private investors need to look into that, because this models will be replicated and then only it can be scaled up. So our job as a private players is to create a platform. And this creation of platform can only be done by development of skills. That is what I said is you can train these engineers, you can train these villager folks into good engineers, and they can then take care of the systems down the line. To summarize, we say basic lighting has been our starting point. If this will lead to the enhancement of the load, the energy for us doesn't mean an end, but it's a means to an end. It will create a win-win situation among all the stakeholders. Successful pilot projects have been done in India, and the challenges and opportunities are for large-scale deployment. Thank you.